Hey guys, I did say I would show you guys what my profile looks like when I'm logged in. It's completely different when I'm logged in. I can click on the links, they're all like visible, but for some reason I can't click on them when I'm viewing it as a stranger, which is really weird to me because it's a public profile. It really is a public profile. So that is kind of odd. But yeah, and for some reason. Okay, yeah, I can click on that. All right. Which I also have all these links on here as well. But I can't click on them obviously as my own as my own account, which is really weird. Really, really weird. But yeah. Don't know why I can see the links as a stranger but can't click on them. That seems like a fault on Facebook's end, but clearly they should be able to you should be able to click on them. Not sure why I can't, but yeah. Anyway, yeah. So like if I do that, I can like yeah. But for some reason I can click on them as my own guy. Now I did respond to her because she has a little friend in here coaching her on how good of a job she did. What her friend doesn't tell people is she's married to Scott Helinski, who is actually a brother or kin to Stuart Hozinski. You know, boom, Hozinski. Hozinski, his brother, and Stewart got arrested for stalking my girlfriend. For Facebook stalking and texting my girlfriend, going to her work and starting. It was a whole lot of shit. Whole lot of shit. And he got arrested for it. Here's the charges. Right here, stalking misdemeanor. That was the last one that he got arrested for. There you go. Yeah, so it's not the first time I've had to deal with these types of people. There's three to four families that absolutely can't stand me. It's the Helinski family, the mayor, because he was closely related to the Helinski family he was technically closely related to Russell William First, who I showed you in the video earlier. Now, he wasn't related to him biologically. However, he was through marriage because I believe his niece was what's her name? Well, it was Russell's wife, Melody Helinski. I believe that's her name. I might be butchering it, but honestly, I don't. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've had to dive into this shit, so forgive me if I'm butchering that name. But honestly, there's nothing I could do to it that they haven't already done by coming and attacking me, for me to have to expose them for everything that they are, quite literally. But yeah, these are earlier posts. That was April 13th, 4/23, right there. That's an earlier interaction I had when she tried to ban me from the Alpina Photos page because I posted some photos that got a lot of traction. That's all it took, was getting photos that got traction, and she was like, okay, you know what? No, people are starting to like you. Boop. And so there has been an orchestrated effort to isolate me within this town, and unfortunately, I'm still fighting it 9 years later. But yeah, as with this video and the video after it, I just wanted to make these very abundantly clear. I have no criminal record, okay? I have no criminal record. I have a high school education. I do not have a college education. Well, for one, I'm absolutely terrified of the debt that it would incur. And I'm pretty sure in the current market, having a college education doesn't help for shit, because I'm seeing college kids have to hold 8 jobs just to pay rent. That's not even including utilities and food. And that, to me, just is strikingly unbearable. That's another problem with this town, is there is no housing market here. There is nowhere for people to live. In fact, it was a talking point on top of many, many other talking points. But I believe it's alpinanews.com. I'll just type in Alpena housing. Wait, actually, advisor, I believe is the title. Advisor. Spelled that wrong. Tells council. Tells suggest housing in Alpena. We'll just put that. Hopefully I get something. Alright. So basically there was they're working on it, and there's some things that they are working on in this town. Don't get me wrong, they have been combating the shit that I've brought up. And kudos for that. But there is a small faction of people who they believe in the whole sweep it under rug, it'll go away. Well, that's not how it works with meth problems or convicted pedophiles making a nuisance of your town and exploiting your town's, nature in order to absolutely decimate your youth, okay? Now, if I typed in that on the other video, you guys saw really quickly how many. If I type in just let me see. If there's soberly. Oh yeah, that's another thing. They have a lot of rehab clinics out here. There's actually 3, and the reason they have 3 rehab clinics is because there's a growing meth problem. I talked about that in the earlier video. If you want to hear more about that, go to the other video. I'm not going to repeat it here. But yeah, there's a problem with the housing market in Alpena. There's like little to no housing in Alpena. And that's one of the reasons it's in decline, along with COVID and the fact that they can't keep any local stores up. And it's not for a lack of, they do have jobs out here. I will not lie. They do have jobs out here. However, workers don't get treated too well. Especially for local joints. I think the one of the highest paying jobs I've seen out here was $30 an hour, and that was for Walmart. And that's great. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's fucking amazing actually. But that was of course on a employment website, and I have no idea what the position was for. So it could have been for manager or anything like that. And most of the jobs that will pay you even remotely above the minimum wage are going to be the franchise jobs, the corporate-owned franchise jobs, not the jobs that are literally just owned local by local mom and pop shops. Most of your auto shops or most of the locally owned branches, even some of their franchise jobs, it's not what you know, it's who you know, and they don't typically want to hire you if they don't know you, quite literally. So there's like a big gate for job market. And if they do hire you and they don't know you, they're going to pay you absolutely shit compared to the next guy. And if you have an employment system set up like that, where your workers aren't getting paid enough to live a decent life, guess what? You're going to have problems. You're going to have people walking out of jobs. I've actually talked about this several times. The great recession and the great, what was it? The event where people started silent quitting. It's a big thing on TikTok for a reason, because it's not silent quitting. You're simply moving to another place that'll pay you more, or that'll actually appreciate your work effort. And honestly, if anyone gets mad at you for going to a job that appreciates your work effort, I honestly don't think that they should be in your life at all. But needless to say, I've been blackballed from sites on Facebook just for looking for work. So yeah, and this person who did it has had grievances with me in the past. Now, her husband doesn't like me. She doesn't like me. Her husband shared the fact that I pretty much outed it, and they didn't like that. So then they deleted everything I wrote and locked down the site so that they could have an echo chamber. That, my friends, is why Alpena is slipping. The echo chamber mentality doesn't allow you to confront and tackle problems. Therefore, you're going to have them get worse and worse and worse until your town fucking slowly dies. Okay, and that is why they don't like me out here, because I raise awareness to these issues and hopes that maybe something will be done about it. Like I said, some of these problems they are trying to hit. I've seen them go after drug bust for this meth problem. And honestly, I think they're fighting a losing war in that regard. But I mean, the fact that they're trying to stamp it out, they let it get too far too quick. And I don't know if they're going to be able to tackle it. Do I think it's going to bring money to the city? I don't know, because the people they're busting might bring money, but honestly, I also think that some of the people involved in prosecuting these cases have close ties with drug dealers. I know for a fact that the district DA had a tie with a drug dealer because her brother or cousin was one, and the only reason I know that is because he tried to offer me some when I was out on New Year's night about 3 to 4 years ago. So yeah, or was it Cinco de Mayo? It was a celebratory night. I was out. I of course turned him down because it looked like he was hard shit, and I don't fuck with that. Like I've smoked a doobie in the past, like a joint, but Mary Jane is the extent of what I've ever done. And it's probably the extent of what I'll ever do, because I don't trust chemical compounds. I just don't. And the inability to control my mind, or the inability to have control of my own thoughts, really, really is a fear thing for me. I want to know what's going on around me. I don't want my third eye opened up in that regard. I think there's better ways to obtain knowledge and open your third eye other than just getting trippy on acid and doing shit that can literally kill you. So yeah, but yeah, they have a problem with that in town. There's a problem with how many, quite literally. I made a post, and at the time, I actually raised the concern about the pedophiles and the sex offenders in this town and how many were here. At the time, they were at the top of the list. Now, since then, many of them were driven out into Rogers City, which is a city that is about an hour away from here. Most of those people were registered here before they went to Rogers City. And they went to Rogers City just to get away from the exposure, so to speak. Now, I had a child at the time, so yes, I was worried about that, because I wanted to get custody of my child and fight for custody of my child. And at the time, I had no idea as to what the legal methods were to do that, so I didn't realize I was kind of screwed in terms of Michigan law, being that I conceived out of wedlock. But, yeah. Needless to say, people came and vouched for me. They said, look, this is what's going on. You're full of shit. Russell accused me of one thing, and at the time I had no idea where he worked. I had no idea where he lived. It was just a Facebook shit. It was just Facebook battling, right? A Facebook duel, so to speak. And yeah, he decided to plaster my name in a degrading manner. I could have sued him for that, but I wouldn't have gotten any money, as the attorney said. He's like, the dude's a hairdresser at a fucking Walmart. You're not going to get anything out of him. And he's like, and even if you were, you'd have to prove losses. And I was on SSI at the time. So I would have had to prove I'd lost my SSI for it, and I didn't. So there was no way I could sue him for that. However, he did slander me. But, I couldn't sue him to get any money out of it. And I would have had to pay an attorney to get my name back, and I didn't have the money to do that. So that's what's going on there. But yeah, it's been going on for 9 years. It's so bad that, I just want to get the fuck out of town. I have put in my efforts to try to make this town better. There are groups of people who do not want me here. They are large familial groups. The Suzaks, the Helinskis, the Huzinskis. These are huge family groups. This is a place where it's who you know, not what you know. I've been threatened on the side of the street. Now, I don't really give a fuck about threats, because these people don't do shit anyway. I'm still waiting for them to fucking try. But they don't. Because they know that, actually they don't know what they're fucking with. And it's that lack of knowing that's probably, kept them from doing it. I honestly don't know. Honestly, I think it's probably in their best interest, because it's not just this town that has dealt pretty much PTSD symptoms on me. It's been my entire life. And not always situations like this, but I was in the system. I grew up in foster care, So I had my fair share of bullies throughout my life, and these people, they're literally a drop in the pot when it comes to bullies. They're nowhere near as bad as, say, when I was jumped by 8 people in high school, or like thrown down a fucking hallway, or even like drugged by my ankles at midnight in a group home. That they have no idea of the shit I've been through, and they couldn't survive it if they tried. So I don't even want to go into that. What I will say is this town is extremely toxic. Getting jobs, getting employment out here, unless you're trying to work like slave at literally bare minimum fucking wage, don't do it out here. Just don't do it. Do not move out here. If you're looking for tourism, this town has the highest one of the highest convicted sex offender rates in northern Michigan, and per capita, highest in the nation. Okay, so that's something you should probably think about if you're going to do tourism out here. When it comes to the prices of things, well, it's pretty bad across the entire country, so I can't really speak as to, the rest of the country, but I know it's pretty bad up here too. You're not going to be escaping that here either. And like I said, I didn't want to bring all this shit up. I didn't want to talk about all this, or the fact that they have no housing out here in order for people to live. So you can't move up here. Oh God, why would you want to begin with? The people are atrocious to you. They're absolutely... If you disagree with them on one fucking small premise, they absolutely go to war with you. So no, it's not a very healthy environment. As for racism, I exposed the light on that back in 2000, and I believe it was 12. And since then, they've made strides to try to learn about it. But I'm going to be real with you, there are very few African Americans or blacks that live up here. Very few. And there's good reason for it, because at one point, this city housed a Ku Klux Klan chapter. Or was it a neo-Nazi chapter? It was a white supremacist chapter. They've since, obviously, abolished it, but it was actually headline news on TYT. And I made it headline news at one point on Facebook. Now, Facebook did delete a lot of my posts from like a long time ago, so I've never been able to get those back. But they were there. I did raise awareness to it. I raised awareness to the fact that several of the stores here were going to close if they didn't make certain changes, and I listed what changes those would needed to be. And they didn't make those changes, they went under, and I pretty much was like, well, I did say that this is what needed to happen, and you guys just didn't listen. Everyone said I was full of shit, including the local newspaper, who said that the rumors were purely fictional, and well, I've got a video of that too. You can find it also on this site called What It Was Like to Live in Alpena. I list a lot of this there, but I didn't want to have to drag all this stuff. Like I said, it's been like 3 years, 4 years. I've tried to let it go. They refuse to let it go. They're continuously trying to isolate me from getting work in the town, getting employment in the town. They're trying to isolate me from being able to move from the town. They just want me to become something that I'm not. I have had instances. Hold on, check this out. I have had instances where one of the Suziks told me to be a school shooter because that's something you wanna tell people to do. That's something you want to tell people. Yeah, this is the type of people that you deal with out here. Check this out. This is the type of people you deal with out here. Check this out. This is what's really interesting about this town, though, and yeah, this is the type of people you deal with. They don't like me because I wear a certain outfit or wear certain clothing on my downtime when it's my own time and I choose to wear what I want to wear. They don't like that unless you're wearing, unless you look like a homeless guy. They do not like it. They do not like you repping yourself. What was it when he said something about being a school shooter? Because I know he did say it. and this is just one of the people that I've had a problem with. His whole shit was he didn't like the fact that I had an issue with a copyright strike that was done to me by the people who he paid, a bot who he paid to put his music out. He didn't like that, so he decided to go to war with me. Things that didn't even involve him, but he decided he wanted to go to war with me. So, okay, good for you. You feel that you need to go to war with someone because you want to feel inclusion. All right, good for you, buddy. Good. Awesome. Meanwhile, he's running away from me as fast as fucking can. As fast as he can. I'm trying to find the thing where he basically said, that he basically like, why don't you do because I know he said it. Pretty fucked up at it that he would actually say it, but yeah, it is what it is. Like, how are you gonna fucking say that shit? Oh, he got mad because he was waiting for me to reply and I didn't reply right away because I have a life. But yeah, I'm trying to find the fucking thing where he's like saying, oh, also, one of his family members not only staked out, but got fired from the Alpena troopers because, well, or actually fired from the Alpena sheriffs because he staked out and stalked my girlfriend in order to pull her over. So he got fired for that. And apparently it wasn't the first time he had done it. Suzik was employing him for years doing this to other people who might have a problem with Suzik because Suzik has a very volatile fucking personality. He's had a lot of problems with a lot of people, including, but not limited to, me, my, I want to say like my friend's employer who used to live with this guy. This guy kicked him out. He kicked him out, just straight up kicked him out, and the guy pretty much used the guy for the income, kicked him out and said, you know what, you're not going to be here anymore. It's fucking bullshit. But then again, the guy decided to go after me, so, her employer is not my friend either. I digress. Morgan Suzik is volatile, and most of the people who get to know him realize this really quickly, and they distance themselves, so he gets pissy. But the Suziks see that as a form of hostility, and they will go after anyone who messes with their little baby brother. The truth is, their little baby brother gets offended or mad at someone for literally no reason at all, and then goes off on them and doesn't like handling the repercussions of that. Oh well. But yeah, this is just part 2 of what I've had to deal with in this town. I've had to deal with people trying to come up to me in the back of, behind me in the convenience stores, acting like they're going to shiv me with a fucking writing pin, a fucking pin, thinking that they're John Wick or something, and I look back behind them, and then they put it away and walk in the other direction. I've had to deal with people trying to run me over, which is adorable because I'm a lot faster than your fucking thought process when it comes to the fucking pedal of your car. So I've had that happen. I've had people come out to my house and make spinneroonies outside of my house. And I've had girls who I didn't even fucking know hardly. Well, I mean, we knew of them. We helped them out a couple times, me and Megan. But I've had them come and approach me in public and say, hey, you're making up lies and shit about me so that they could get a fight with this person or that person started because they're instigators. They have nothing better to do. How fucking bored do you have to be to try to instigate a fight with someone just because you are fucking bored? Like, how fucking bored and wretched does your life have to be to do something like that? It's fucking bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. But yeah, these people are all about drama. They are not about progressing. They are not about making themselves better. This town is going to fucking wilt and die because it doesn't know how to acknowledge its own faults or compensate for its own faults. It decides to attack people who bring awareness to these problems. And like I said, there are some moments where you can see that they're trying. And they did. For a long time, they tried. But there's this one group of people who think that they are Alpina loyalists who are actually causing the destruction of your town. These people who think that anyone who speaks anything other than Alpina is holy, Alpina is thou, these people who think that and attack anyone who doesn't speak holy in regards to your town, to you, I'm going to tell you right now, these people are destroying your town. The people who are trying to insulate an echo chamber are absolutely destroying your town. Because if you can't fix a problem if you don't know it's there, and these people do not want you to know that problem's there. Why? Because they're a part of the problem. Anyway, that's the second video. That's it. That's all I got time for. This has been 25 minutes. I've got to cut this one down anyway. So expect this one to be like a third video. But yeah, later.